No dogs are bred, sold, or used for illegal purposes. This video is to be used for historical or fictional purposes only. If you are not a friend of the breed, please exit this video now.
Hey, what's going on, Carolina?
Oh, I'm doing well. What about yourself?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. I got word from old Lockjaw. Shout out to Lockjaw. He was telling me that you wanted to speak with me, and we can go over some things, man. Some things you might have heard, and talk about. You had Termite, right?
Yes, I had emphasized and a few bit of them. What I really was interested in I was looking at YouTube the other day, and I heard an article that was written on there, and it was kind of pleasurizing. It's called The Legend. What some of whoever the pleasurizers were, they as if they were a third party, and like they were a part of it.
You sound a little. Oh, I hear you. You sounded a little muffled before. So I think I hear you now.
So I felt that it was about time for me to tell my side of the story.
Oh, yeah. Carolina side, huh?
Yeah, the Carolina side. Well, back in those days, a lot of people didn't like the idea that I was so competitive,
Mm-hmm.
And I probably accomplished a lot of things that they probably wished that I didn't. Mm. So in my endeavors in this game, I've done probably about everything you can do with it, and been very successful. But I've had some very good ones, and some of the people who got some of them right now, they're still doing well for them.
Damn, you had Termite, man. That's a whole bloodline. Just Termite alone, that's saying a lot. That's a big staple of the dog game, because you can look through quite a few dogs and you're gonna see Termite in there.
Yeah, and the most honorable thing about it is I raised him from a puppy.
Damn.
All the way through the
and now I read in the story, wasn't they saying that Termite was the one that they didn't like because he didn't meet for instance, they got breeders nowadays say that the dog should be red nose, but in those days with Jocko, they wanted them to be buckskin like Jocko. And so is it true that they thought that Termite didn't fit the standard because of the color?
Because of the color. Here's what they fail to realize. That Yellow's mama name was Maul. Him and JR. The two brothers. Their mama name was Maul. Where the grandmama name was Rose. That was Termite's daddy's sister.
Mm.
So they bred Rose back to Jocko, her daddy, and made Maul. But they made a 50-50 cross there. Half Redboy and half Jocko. So now, with my dog was primarily, Termite was about 3/4 of Jocko. So Termite daddy was there and he was off of Jocko, and then the mama, Jocko was the granddad on both sides of them dogs.
Mm.
So, and that little Lonzo blood, because he didn't have as much Redboy as Yellow and them did. So when they made the cross with Yellow and Maul, they threw some big brindle red dogs and big brindle pretty dogs,
When they made the cross of Yellow and who?
And the Jocko bitch, the Maul. The litter that Yellow John came from. I mean, Yellow came from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's what the dogs look like that. Big brindle dogs. Because that was a 50-50 cross.
Mm.
That was directly off of Yellow John.
Yeah, so Termite do got a touch of Termite
still is considered
red boy Jock. Well, you could call him Jocko Redboy.
His mama. What happened is they took a Redboy Junior and bred the chickens like this.
Mm.
They was half Redboy, half Lonzo. Then they took that and bred, which was Lady Sassy, back to Jocko himself.
Mm.
That's why the dogs sounded like.
Oh, there you go. I hear you now.
Yeah, they were black and brindle then. But even the dogs direct off of Termite, he's never sold another dog off of him other than a black brindle dog directly off of him.
Black or brindle?
Black or brindle. Hyena was brindle. Golden was brindle. And it was just
now Hyena. That was Hyena was straight off of him, right?
Yeah, that was direct off him. That was Gabriel's brother.
Okay.
So each one of those dogs went different places, but they started a whole family of dogs. Gabriel went to South Florida. not Gabriel, but Hyena went to South Florida and started his dogs over there. And Gabriel went to up north. He started a family over there. Lockjaw and them had Booger over there. He started putting a family over there in the Carolinas.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Ride or Die crew there, they had Convict, and he kept them dogs going for 20, 30 years. Oh, yeah, for 20, 30 years. And still producing the same colors and same qualities. Yeah, so that's been a pretty strong family.
Damn. So how did you how was you able to acquire Termite? Like, what brought that about?
Well, this would happen. When I was stationed down in Beaufort, South Carolina, I was a drill instructor over there. So I used to go to a lot of different shows that they had back in those days. And I kind of got in with some people, and I finally met Mr. Chavis because I heard so much about him. So I used to go over to his house all the time with a friend of mine. And we kept looking around the dogs, and I saw that dog right there. And I saw how he acted and how he wanted, and I wanted that dog right now.
So you got her straight from Fletcher Chavis?
Yes, sir, right from him.
But
they got what they did is Stevie Steen had bought him from Chavis, but never finished paying him the money. So he got him back from him. So that's why
for the people who don't finish out their payments, boy, you was able to get them.
Yeah. And from then on, it started from there. And then how I got to Dallas female, Anthony Robinson used to come over my house. He had just come out of Hawaii, and he bought a bunch of stuff from over Hawaii. It wasn't no good. And so he wanted to find out where he could buy him a quality dog. And I took him to Youngsville, North Carolina, to Debbie Nichols' house. Because they was raising dogs for Mr. Joe Metton at the time, because they got so old they couldn't take care of him, but they had him up there and they were raising for him. And she wanted $300 for that bedbug dog puppy. But he didn't have the two, so I gave him $100, and he promised to give me one of the puppies. That's how I got Dallas.
Now Dallas, who is Dallas off of?
Dallas is off of a dog called Michael George Jr. Bred to Bedbug. Okay, Bedbug.
Bedbug.
Yeah. Okay, now Bedbug was off a Red Boy male, bred to the Crooked Tail female, a triple cross off the Melton's Outlaw dog. So she was half Red Boy and half Melton's Outlaw.
Okay. So I'm looking at it. Yeah.
That's Cyrus' mama.
That's the Red Boy and Melton. Yeah, the Whaley's blood and all that stuff.
Yeah. That's for Cyrus' mama right now.
Okay, Now Cyrus, that was the best dog to come off of Termite in your opinion, huh?
Well, he accomplished more than the rest of them, and I don't know whether he just. It's not fair to say it because the other ones didn't have the opportunity at the time that he had. Because at that one time there was 4 males that were at that weight at the same time and at the same title at that time. So he had the opportunity to really, show himself, Because 2 people with the same title struggling for another one, for the last one, So, and at that time, Shep was out, Wrangler was out, but we ended up with the Thunder out of New York there. Because it was originally with the crew in New York, but they had a kennel accident or something. So they say, well, give them a little short more time and somebody else to take it over. They got the Thunder. But that was a good show that didn't last very long.
Wait, say that again?
I said it was a good show, but it didn't last very long.
Oh, yeah.
He never experienced that kind of nothing like that.
So you said we spoke a little earlier. You said you had Red Boy's mom for a while. What's her name? Bass?
Yeah, Crooked Tail. And I had the Bass Cat bitch one time, a little black bitch called Bass Cat. Yeah, and I got it from Ronald Grover because Mr. Melton was getting out of dogs at the time because he got sold to care for him. And that fella there was a recruiter in Statesville, North Carolina. And he kind of got interested in them dogs, and Mr. Melton would give him a bunch of dogs. And he came back to Jacksonville, North Carolina, and he had a truckload of dogs for Mr. Melton, but I really didn't know what they was. And he took him to the basement, and he couldn't keep him over there, so he started keeping them around my house. And I even here was another dog that he had got from him that was off of Molly B and Redboy. As a matter of fact, you see him advertised as Richardson Bandit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was directly off of Molly B and Redboy himself.
Damn. So you had a lot of good stuff back then.
Yeah, I had a lot of good.
That's when all the good blood was around back then.
Yeah. Yeah, very good. And then you could go to the show and see what it was, you know?
Yep. That's when they tried to give us more of the good original dog men. It was a lot more good dog men around than good dogs.
Well, now, let me tell you this here, though. But when that cross came with that yellow and Jocko stuff, man, that was an era. That whole era was nothing but
golden.
I've seen stuff that people never had the pleasure of seeing because it was, you know, unregistered and it was, you know, just so private, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That from that blood.
Did you have like any access or anything to do with yellow? Like, did you?
No. I never would let them breed to them because they didn't ever let me get nothing from them, you know. So the only way our blood got mixed together, see, they needed me because their dogs was a 50-50, and I had a 3/4 dog. See, all I had to do was just go breed mine to a red boy bitch, and I'd be all right. But if he bred,
that makes sense. Yeah, you would have loosened up all that red boy.
Yeah, but if they bred their stuff to an inbred, to a dog, well, it'll be high on the red boy side or either high on the Jocko side. Because his dog was already half and half. So if he went back to the Jocko side, it'd be 3/4 Jocko and 1/4 red boy. And if he went back to red boy, then it'd be 3/4 red boy and 1/4 Jocko. So it didn't work so well. Because that blood, that had to have to be about a 50-50, about a 60-40 at most ratio. But mine, I was able to take mine and keep breeding a 50-50 cross. That's why I competed for 10 years with the same two dogs. I had 8 litters off of Dallas. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Damn. 8
litters. And the early stage I was kind of hard on, and I lost a few of them, but, you know, but when I found out what they were, I didn't have to do it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we went everywhere with them, everywhere. Didn't have to worry about it.
You talking about Termite?
And his children, too. And his children.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So after his era was over, his children took over.
When did you find out that you also had a good producing dog on your hands?
Well, because I kept the stuff myself. That's why I know a whole lot of it was never out in the public. Because I used my own stuff. I bred and used my own. And after that, I made the first initial breeding with Dallas with him and raised him up. Well, I wasn't sure about him, so I was kind of hard on him, you know. And then after I found out that that's just what I needed, they were all right, you know.
Right.
I didn't sell for many of them, and I didn't let people. I didn't let nobody breed for them. I had my own.
When you started letting people, like, you know, you opened them up more and started letting.
Well, what happened here is I had got into with Lockjaw then over there, and I became friends with them, and then the first people I kind of shared some breedings with because they reminded me of the position I was in when I first started, you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so and let me add, special shout out to Lockjaw for, you know, connecting us, you know, me with you, you know. Yeah. So I do want to say shout out Lockjaw.
Yeah. Yeah. So back in them days, there wasn't very many of us anyway, you know.
Yeah, that's true. There wasn't a lot of.
It wasn't very many of us, so I kind of shared with them, you know, and kind of helped them out, you know. And it turned out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So but other than that, I didn't share them with very many people. And the ones I did, I always tell people, you can hear my name, but you'll never hear nothing that I did wrong to somebody who I sold them something that wasn't no good.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that did have the pleasure of getting one here, they would stand in line and hope they could get another one.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. They hunting them right here today, right now. Right now, they're looking for them right now.
Still looking for the same blood.
Yeah.
That's true. And watch on this video. Watch how many guys be looking for that blood.
Now,
after
he talked about he's gonna get his Rufus blood back together.
Now, you said Harry?
Yeah.
Okay,
On the interview,
okay,
I saw
yeah,
he
Harry.
said he's waiting to get his Rufus. He's waiting, trying to get his Rufus blood back together.
Right.
I told him, I wanted to tell him that
you should
the
take
termite blood still live on, baby. Still living. Yep, the termite blood still living. You still trying to get that junk back together.
Why you say his junk?
No, there was some very good dogs off the Rufus, but wasn't a whole lot of them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Nah. And they were the one to mention they were stupid, you know, typical cowboy type stuff, you know.
Mm.
Real rough, real, you know, demanding, you know. But you put something on with the finesse to him, he couldn't stand that. He couldn't stand that.
Mm-hmm. Now let me ask you this: they got a lot of little rumors and little stuff spreading around. Some people say that Redboy came from was like a little dog they found on the side of the road and just sold him. Do you know any history on like Redboy and
Well, I have to say it like this because neither one of us was there. Nobody was there who bred them dogs, but the people who was there. But I can say one thing: is I don't know where he came from or whatever, but the dogs that came off of him were very good dogs. He produced very good. So now where they came from, all I can say is what he did. So I don't care about where his mom and dad came from, as long as it was off of him, that was good enough for me.
Yeah, you know for a fact, it's off him. So you know there is for a fact.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, it's a fact that came from him. So whatever they say he was, and I ain't never heard people even question about it, but you know, you have a lot of critics, what they do is to sit around and they plagiarize stuff or they invent different stories and all kind of stuff. And I often tell them if it wasn't for people like me and others, they wouldn't have nothing to talk about at all. Yep. What would they do? Because they're not going to do anything else but talk.
Yep, yeah. That is true.
That's all they do.
That is true.
And then they question about, was Termite really bred this way? No, he was bred like this, you know. And I said, well, how did they know that? They never took a bucket of water to him.
Yeah.
I raised them all his life, but they're going to tell me. And they ain't never fed him. I said that to them. That's why I don't do a lot of talking on the phone with people, because most of the time it'd be foolishness.
Yeah, people always got something to say. You can do this, do that. They still gonna say, oh, that, you know, they still gonna have something to say. It's highly competitive. But
but you know one thing about it, they praise them other people.
Oh yeah.
They don't have to say one thing.
It's always a double standard, you know. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now let me ask you this. How was Termite growing up? How was he as a pup? His temperament, and, you know. And,
no, he was on very. He was on all the dogs. I tell you, all the dogs off of him. About him himself too. He was on 3-4 months. He already on. Can't stand the dog.
Thanks. Mm-hmm.
Even the dogs off of him here, off of him in Dallas. Man, if I forgot about it and then take some of them pins, I'll be taking one of them out of there every evening I come home from work. Yeah. Because they wouldn't stay together long. Just out there, you don't have to rub the nose. All you have to do is show him one of them. That's when you know the blood is good.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
You ain't have to wait for all that. When it gonna turn on? Yeah. You didn't have to, and I could sit there and I had one time 4 or 5 litters of dogs off of him, and I could see the ones that looked just like the other ones. And I said, that's how many? Sometimes I had 3 or 4 litters off of them.
Oh, 3 or 4 litters off Termite?
Mm-hmm, at one time, but I could look at the dogs in there, and I said, well, that's gonna be the one right there. He looked just like the other one.
Do you notice like a pattern like in the line, like to help you determine what's gonna be, you know, probably some of the best stock, you know, that are most, you know, similar to Termite?
Well, I always wanted to try, and I thought that would work really good, was a Klaus cross with it. But it's hard to find that blood. Yeah, it's hard to find pure blood.
That's that blood that was bred with Bolio a lot.
Yeah.
That's kind of like,
Yeah, that's the one with Carrie Nichols when you bred that dog his Indian Moon to that female, Klaus female he had.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good litter of dogs there too.